Most people start committing to a new language because they really love the films, the anime, even music and games that's based on that language. If that's the case for you, then you probably have also heard the following suggestion. That is, do not learn the language from your favorite TV shows, movies, or anime because the dialogue used in those is never actually used in real life. And I'm here to tell you, you should absolutely learn from your favorite shows and movies and anime because that might actually be the fastest way of mastering the speaking part of the new language that you're trying to learn. Here is the basic method. Pick your favorite lines from movies, animes, or even speeches. Break them down word by word, syllable by syllable. Then memorize them, rehearse them, perform them like an actor would preparing for a role. Because that's what we are, actors, pretending to be fluent, faking it until mastery. Traditionally, people tell you to start with the basics. Start with the pinyin of Chinese, the katakana of Japanese. But here's the problem. Let's say someone wants to learn music. Should they start with 1 hour of keyboard theory and 3 hours of daily scale practice? Or should they just start with the music they like first? We only get better at something after we build an emotional momentum of that thing. And I believe we should only touch the boring basics after that, so we don't risk killing our own interest before we ever make something of it. We have a saying in Chinese, 事半功倍, half the effort, double the result. Start from what you actually love, then everything will work for you instead of against you. Or the opposite, 事倍功半, twice the effort, half the result. If you begin with what bores you the most, you better be the David Goggins of language learning, because if not, 99% of us will quit. So start with your favorite character's catchphrase, then a full sentence, then maybe an entire dramatic villain monologue that you scream into your mirror at 2:45 a.m. That is exactly how you should build your speaking skills. Take the famous example of Ana de Armas, the Cuban Spanish actress. When she landed a major English-speaking role of a movie, she didn't really understand English, but she memorized her script, and that was enough to get her the part. Of course, the basics are still needed. I'm not trying to convince you otherwise, but keep in mind that no one learned their language by sitting in a grammar class. We'll start by mimicking, pretending, catching up to the rhythm, and only then understanding. But wait, what about the argument of these lines and these monologues are not day-to-day enough? What if this kind of language is never used in real life? And what if I make a fool of myself speaking as though I were some poet of the court? It's a valid concern, and I have 2 counterpoints. Number 1, most people of most countries are not literate. Not necessarily illiterate, but you shouldn't count on most people of most places to answer most of your questions intelligently. So if you aim to become sounding just like an average American, Japanese, or Chinese, just remember that average is actually a terrifyingly low bar. We have a saying in Chinese, 求上得中, aim for the highest and you may reach the middle. 求中得下, aim for the middle, then you'll probably get the least. 求下而不得, aim low, then you will probably end up with nothing. According to the US National Center for Education stats, 21% of adults of America are functionally illiterate, and a concerning amount of school-aged kids are 2 to 3 grade levels behind on average. Even a great amount of high school and college students are incapable of basic reading and writing. Just a couple days ago, a group of prisoners escaped from a New Orleans jail. This is what they wrote on the wall. Too easy. LOL. LOL indeed. Now my point is, since you have already committed of learning a new language, why don't learn it and speak it beautifully, smoothly, fluently, like the leading actor of any show or film or even anime of your choice. Thou shalt not dull thy tongue in pursuit of the common man's mutterings. Number 2, there are plenty of shows and films featuring day-to-day monologues. For English, you have Friends, The Office, The Big Bang Theory, and The Family Guy. which I owe most of my English to. For Japanese, we have We Married as a Job, Pretty Proofreader, Solitary Gourmet, Doraemon, which I owe most of my childhood to. For Chinese, you can turn to iPartment, Empresses in Palace, Home with Kids, Non-Human, and The Legend of Hay. The last episode of this aired like 4 years ago. There is also a movie version of it. Both are highly recommended. Lastly, since there are tons of easy ways to learn Japanese and Chinese videos out there, let me introduce you to what I can only describe as a diabolically difficult method of language learning, an advanced version of the method we have mentioned earlier, which is also diabolically effective. It will take you at least hours, possibly days, and it goes as follows. Step 1. Find a video or audio clip, no shorter than 3 to 5 minutes, no longer than 20. Step 2. Get the transcript. Preferably write it out yourself or use a text extraction tool. Step 3. Translate every single word, every single sentence, the entire clip, and understand it 100%. Step 4. Rehearse and perform over and over. Mimic the tempo, rhythm, tone, pauses, breathing, everything. This is the Shang Wen-jie method, a Chinese singer-songwriter. She's the first person I know who mentioned this method publicly. You can also call this the intensive method because it is very, very intensive. Here's what I can promise you. If you apply this method exactly as I described, just 10 times, alongside learning the basics like ABCs to English, katakana and basic kanji to Japanese, you will surpass at least 90% of your peers right after. I highly recommend extracting clips from podcasts in your target language. They are the most current, natural version of the language you can find. But again, films, anime, music, even games, whatever can get you hooked is probably the best cracking point that you can get started with. There is literally this Chinese guy learned Japanese and passed JLPTN2 only by watching thousands of porns. That's dedication. If this video does well, I will make few more language learning videos. Let me know if you have any questions or any video ideas. Also, please let me know if there is any line, any monologue, or maybe even an entire scene that you memorized naturally. I'm pretty sure that everyone has this small piece of pop culture lived in their head rent-free.